god.
You got the puppy.
Can I say hi to them?
Yes, he's very friendly.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. This is my first ride ever
With the dog?
with a dog.
The first one ever.
Ever.
Well, it's going to be the best one ever.
Hi. You are lovely. People must just love this.
It is so entertaining, just people's reactions alone.
Oh, what a great idea.
I was kicking myself for not doing it sooner. I've been driving Uber for 9 years, and I wish all 9 years were with the puppy.
Oh my gosh. So have the last two been the best?
Oh, for sure. Plus the first 6 were in LA, so that was miserable.
Oh, in LA. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. And like the last few, I guess, with COVID in LA.
Yeah, well, that's what kicked me out of LA. I was a private driver out there, like party
really?
shuttle, Mercedes van, private clients, and then, yeah, COVID, it just dropped off a cliff. So I relocated out here, and now I'm just like kind of building it back from scratch.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride. There's a deer down here I passed on the way up.
Oh,
I wonder if it's still here. It must have ran off by now. It's right here. Oh, there it is.
Oh wow!
Oh, there's 3.
Oh my
gosh.
gosh, look at that!
Oh,
Incredible!
so cute. I love them. Bambi.
So cool. I actually live in Portland, Oregon.
Oh, cool.
We also have a cabin. We have deer that come almost all the way up to our window now. Now they're kind of getting used to us, but it's so awesome to be sitting in there eating breakfast, just watching the deer outside.
That's so cool.
Oh, my kids love it.
How's Portland doing? I haven't been there in a long time.
You know, I live in Portland, but more like in the suburbs of, not in
Okay.
downtown. The downtown area really went through a hard time with COVID.
I saw.
It was quite shocking, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, mainly Portland and Seattle, I think, got like the worst of it. But then,
Yeah.
you know, New York, Chicago, LA, SF, we're seeing similar stuff.
Totally.
But I was following it. I just kept seeing all these videos. I'm like, oh my god, because I've spent lots of time in Portland. I mean, I stayed in Mount Hood one time for a month. Like,
oh, yeah.
I love Oregon. The Northwest is so beautiful.
Yep.
I have friends in Portland too, and I was talking to them just like, what the heck is going on? I mean, the whole place was getting torn apart.
Yeah, I mean, really just an absolute disregard for personal property.
Yeah.
Just shocking, and to the point where the police just couldn't even do anything about it. They couldn't keep up with it.
Right.
And they still, I guess, to this day, don't really that much.
Well, it got defunded too, right?
Yeah, it got defunded, and one of my good friends is the head of EMT services. He basically said that the police are so overwhelmed with like the drug and alcohol related calls, the weapons related calls, the destruction of personal property and trespassing, that they have most of the drug related overdose calls overflowing to what would be considered EMT.
Okay.
So those guys are literally picking up the overdosers, and that's pretty much all they do all day long.
Oh my god.
It's unbelievable.
It's crazy.
In terms of the violence, huge amount of the population has left the downtown Pearl area, which is where a lot of people lived. I actually buy art from a guy that has a gallery downtown. I was just down there about 2 weeks ago. He had told me that the week prior he was getting out of his car, and a guy pulled a gun on him.
Oh my god.
And I mean, this guy is 70 years old.
Jeez.
Right in front of his gallery, he said about 3 months ago, he watched a guy get shot.
Oh my
It's
god.
just like drug deals and robberies. It's really shocking. So many businesses that have closed their doors downtown.
Who wants to operate when there's, you know, that at the doorstep, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy that it's Oregon too, because I feel like there has to have been so much turmoil, because Oregon it has both ends of the spectrum politically. There's so much.
Yeah.
There's so much open land, and you know, gun enthusiasts, and kind of like, you know, farmers and rednecks, and you know, Oregon has a lot of that, you know, and then Portland obviously is extremely progressive, and it went too far, clearly.
Yeah. Very Democrat, like beyond.
Yeah.
Beyond.
I can't even imagine. That was really part of the reason that I left LA too. It wasn't just the business tanking. All that was going on in LA too, and I was like, I don't feel safe here anymore. I mean, LA was always crazy, but
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up going to like Venice Beach and being able to ride my skateboard around, and you know, maybe there was like 2 homeless people on the beach, and they were usually really friendly, you know.
Yeah.
But it's totally changed. I mean, with the tent cities everywhere and
Oh.
the fentanyl thing going on, it is
The
just
fentanyl is out of control.
yeah. it's so sad. It's like most of this could be prevented, and I don't know what the solution is, but
I know.
I just knew to leave. Like, I moved to Castle Rock, and I never cared about politics, but to me that was my big rebellion. Was Castle Rock is, one of the most conservative towns in Colorado.
Is it?
And it's 30 minutes south of Denver, so I can still have the city accessible, so I can work and drive and do whatever. But Castle Rock, I moved there in August 2020, and it was life-changing. I mean,
Wow.
There were no masks, the businesses were all still open, everyone was just with their families, going to school, going out to eat, being outside, enjoying nature. It was like COVID did not exist.
That's amazing.
And it was such a culture shock for me. I'm like, I have so much beef with California at this point, and then I had like 5 roommates. I was paying $2,400 like for rent for a 2-bedroom. I mean, I don't know how anybody gets by in that climate. Like, yeah, the weather is beautiful and there's some opportunities out there, but it's not worth it.
Totally.
But yeah, Portland has a special place in my heart. Since skateboarding was my whole life, Portland has one of the most famous skate parks that they they illegally built it under the Burnside Bridge.
Totally.
And
it's been in videos,
Yeah, I used to go there, and I watched it. There's documentaries and stuff about that place. It started as an illegal project with skaters pouring concrete in a place where it stays dry mostly, and then it got so big and so popular that the city ended up, giving it the proper permits and just saying, this is your guys' space, you can have it. Burnside under the bridge, that belongs to skateboarders, and it's been its own scene really for decades.
Oh yeah, I mean, you think of the culture that was created out of that, like,
oh yeah,
that's pretty amazing.
It's so cool.
Well, I think Portland's at the breaking point because everyone's just had enough, and a lot of what's going on is, to be honest, just a bunch of shenanigans between the politicians not making a move. They're kind of in a stalemate. They all take hordes of money, don't really do anything with it. They're all making big salaries, and they're not really actioning on anything. So people are really fed up, and are starting to vote people out when the time comes. Like, people literally just pooping and peeing like in the middle of the street. I mean, it's unbelievable. One of my really good friends owned a hair salon downtown, and every day she would come to work, and someone would have used the front doorstep as a toilet. And it was just disgusting. Like,
it's not sustainable. I mean, it can't go downhill that quickly and keep going, because at that point it would be post-apocalyptic and no one would live there.
Yeah.
So if the city and the politicians and all the people, if they want to have a city where they're going to be able to hold a job in office and have a home to live, they need to hold it to some kind of a standard, right?
Exactly.
So I just hope people have learned many valuable lessons through this process, and a lot of it is so much by design, where the narrative is getting sculpted ever so craftfully.
Oh yeah.
And people get convinced to just join a side and preach whatever they're preaching without thinking about the repercussions of it. I mean, the majority of blue cities, the majority of the population, they were convinced that if there were less cops, they would be safer. So, I mean, if you take that at face value, like, that has to be some pretty good propaganda to be able to believe that, to the point where you're marching out in the street to defund the police. How is that going to make you safer? There's no way.
There is no way.
It's so idiotic. It just shows how powerful, I mean, I guess the media is. I mean, I don't know who else you could blame for putting that message into everyone's head. I started going down rabbit holes. I got really deep looking into why everything was happening the way it was, and people that are controlling a lot of stuff, that are very powerful, that are actually paying agitators and paying for organized groups like Antifa to go out and destroy things.
That is just totally irresponsible.
It always goes back to someone like, George Soros or whatever, you always hear that guy's name.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he directly funds these groups to go commit violence so that they could get their way politically and, move money around in ways that benefit them. It's sickening.
Yeah, it really is.
But I hate to see it, because it's always our greatest cities too. I mean, when you look at Chicago and New York and Portland, Seattle. It's like these are the greatest cities in the world at one point. You know, some of the cities that helped sculpt this country into what it is, and to watch them all just burn to the ground, people aren't going to stand for it.
No, agreed.
Yeah, we have all the same issues in Denver now, and people blame Californians.
Oh, really? Because they're saying that everyone's coming from California?
Yeah,
Okay.
but buying up all the property, raising the rents. You know, I'm glad I was born in Missouri because, you know, if I just told everyone flat out I'm from California, I couldn't make any friends out here.
Wow.
Californians are a hated breed in Colorado.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It really is that bad. And I don't blame them. I mean, people hate Californians for the same reason I hate Californians. For the same reasons that I left, you know?
Yeah.
Of course, I have friends and family there, and there's a lot I love about it, but, you know, Colorado is the first place I've chosen to live. So I have, like, I feel invested in this state, and if I see Denver start to fall apart, I don't want to see that happen in Denver, but it's already happening. What are you going to do, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not going to run for office, but I sure would like to see people get their heads screwed on straight.
My parents are in their late 60s, early 70s. You know, they kind of, like, accepted what was. But this other generation is now, like, really rebellious in a great way, like protecting the environment, protecting the earth, protecting each other.
Totally.
And it's so rad to see.
I'm really envious of Gen Z because I'm kind of at the end of the millennials.
Yeah.
I'm 30, so yeah, I think I'm only a couple years away from Gen Z, but millennials, I think, are the worst generation in history. I mean, I'm a millennial. I know a million millennials that are amazing people, so I can't speak for everybody, but millennials are kind of the generation that got flipped on its head, and it was just a crazy time to grow up. You know, people almost sort of had normal lives when we were children, and then into our teens and early adulthood, social media and everything started happening, and no one knew how to handle it, and all the information in the world became available at our fingertips overnight before our brains were fully developed.
Yeah.
The entire generation is just mangled with problems. You know, I think you're right. Gen Z will be our savior. I think they have their heads screwed on straight a lot more.
I can't wait to tell my kids that I rode in a car with a predator. I mean, they're going to be like, what? Did you take a video?
Well, actually, it's funny you mentioned that. There's potential if they want to see it.
Is it on your Instagram?
I have a YouTube show.
Oh, you do?
And I'm only putting people on it if they want to be on the show. The dash cam is really just for security.
Yeah.
But the main purpose of the show is to get people's reactions to the dog and have meaningful conversations.
That is such a cool idea.
Both of which we had. I would love to put pieces of that in the next episode if you're cool with it.
Oh, I'm totally cool with it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if it's going to be mostly like drunk people screaming at my dog and petting him, or if it's going to be like, I would love to have long form, like podcast style, like talk about social issues and politics. Like, that's what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
I don't think the algorithm's going to like it quite as much as, you know.
Even putting an IG page together for like people's, you know, experiences when they see that you have a puppy in the car. I mean, that's so awesome.
It's all over Instagram too. Like I put teasers for the YouTube show on Instagram, so there's shorter clips on there.
I love it.
If you look up my name, Kevin Furman, on Instagram, you'll see the last 2 episodes. I'm working on episode 3 right now.
I'm going to totally check it out. Yeah,
awesome.
My kids will love it.
Well, great meeting you.
Nice
Safe travels.
Thank you so much.
Anytime. Thank you.
All right, have a good night.
You too. See ya.